Maybe Eddie Joyce, MHA. Bay of Islands finds things more exasperating than that. How are you, Eddie?
I'm good, Mr. O, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Where are you now? Are you home?
I'm home, yeah.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be home. You should be here just cleaning up the House of Assembly for the Christmas season. What do you think?
Well, sir, there's enough issues that we could bring up, but as we know that Mr. Premier Dunderdale didn't want an open house, and we can see the what's happening now with the Muskrat Falls. We can see why she don't want to face any questions, and a few other issues that I have brought forth already, and this issue I'm going to bring up tonight. Yep. I can see why she don't want the House of Assembly to open, and it should be open. And other provinces that had elections at the same time as us, even the Parliament of Canada is open.
Yeah, right on. I should say, by the way, just in case anyone misunderstood my point there, that merely because an MHA, from my own experience, is in his or her home district doesn't mean that he's sitting on his big fat duff doing nothing. I mean, when you're home, you're working on behalf of constituents, right? You may not be in the House of Assembly making speeches or asking questions, but if my memory serves, you're hard at it.
Well, yes, sir. You're definitely hard at it. There's always work to do in the district, but it's always nice to for issues that you have on behalf of the district and behalf of the people of the province to bring up in the House of Assembly, to make public and to try to initiate change. Absolutely.
House of Assembly is the most important democratic institution we have, and you're absolutely right. But in the meantime, you have some concerns. Did I hear on our news that you have some concerns about snow clearing policy on secondary highways? I mentioned it in my preamble, and I'm delighted that you joined us on it. Go right ahead.
Well, it is, Mr. O. Back in 2006, 2005, 2006 year, this government changed the policy whereby there'd be no snow clearing, and it's right in the manual, Department of Transportation Works' own manual. There's no snow clearing after 9:30 at night.
Right.
The trucks come back in, and they usually get in at 5, start snow clearing at 6. When I was in opposition back in 2006, 2007, I kicked up a lot of fuss in House of Assembly and outside that gradually relaxed some of it for the Trans-Canada Highway. For example, the Claremont to St. John's, because they said it's a high traffic area, they kept snow clearing on if need be 24 hours a day. The same thing from Port of Bass to the Deer Lake Airport.
Yeah, and they call that sort of a pilot project, didn't they? On the West Coast, yeah.
They kept it up, Mr. O. But it's brought to my attention again, and it always was, and this is one of the issues I was going to bring up. And I use the Bay of Islands, for example, but a lot of secondary roads in the province, that there's a lady who called me last night from the Bay of Islands who was going to work in the morning about 6:20. She went off the road. It was just treacherous, ice.
So they give up, you say, at 9:30, and they come back on again when?
At 6 in the morning. They come to depot at 5, but they usually leave the depot at 5:36.
Yeah.
So anybody who and if you're coming one way and the truck is going the other way, and especially when I use the Bay of Islands, for example, where it's about a 45-minute down one way, 45 minutes back. So if you're on the outer part of it, you're looking at an hour and a half. So you're looking at yesterday morning, 7:20 before the salt and sand truck passed through. She was off the road.
So you got a full 8 hours or more, a full work shift, you might say, where there's no winter maintenance on the secondary roads.
There's no snow clearing. There's no salt or sanding. And at 9 o'clock, the vehicles have to head back to depots.
Yeah.
If it's snowing, hard luck.
Yeah, that's...
And it's in their own Department of Transportation policy that the only time that they'll be called out is the emergency, ambulance or something like that. And the problem with it, and I'm going back in 2006, it cost about $1 million at the time, so we say $750,000 to $1 million. Mm-hmm. Here we are talking about a surplus of $600 million, and here we are scrimping on the roads, and I use the Bay of Islands, so there's a lot of people here working at the hospital, may go home at night time. A lot of people work at the mill. There's a lot of people travel throughout, back and forth to corner work early in the morning, going home at night, and it's happened all throughout the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'll just give people the warning that when the winter comes again, after 9 o'clock at night, there will be no snow clearing or no sanding or salting until the next morning. So if you have to travel, be careful.
Yeah, well, Eddie, Joyce, I know just putting one life at risk is horrible. It's an awful situation. However, I suppose we do have to look at our tax dollars somewhat and make sure that the expenditure makes some sense, that there's some kind of a proportion between need and expenditure. And I'm just wondering, do you happen to know what kind of usage of the secondary roads takes place between, say, 9 and 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, compared to the other hours of the day?
I know in the Bay of Islands it's not used as much, but what happens is there's a lot of people on shift work at the fish plants, the hospital, or the mill. It's not as used as much as the daytime. I don't think even the Trans-Canada is used much.
No.
They're used frequently. And Mr. O, the policy that was in prior to when they changed it, I think it's 2006 to change it, is that the foreman had the discretion to call people in, so they didn't have people sitting there, hope it's going to snow or not going to snow. The foreman, if you knew the forecast and get a proper read, okay, we're going to have a foot of snow tonight, so they would call people in. Mm-hmm. But now, what the policy did, it took the discretion out of the foreman on the road to keep the roads clear for the next morning. Right. And if you have a foot of snow, and I use the Bay of Islands again, for example, if you have a foot of snow, by the time that snow is even cleared, it's going to be 9 10 o'clock in the morning anyway, because the snow is so deep.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everybody should be just sitting there waiting, but the discretion of the foreman who was on duty at the time, to call people in, because we know we're having a storm, we know there's snow coming, we know the night before that we're having rain and temperature is going to drop. And this lady that called me last night, it was about 6:20 in the morning, coming up pure black ice, cars side the road. She happened to go off the road, and it was very treacherous, and the sand salt truck came back. I just don't think for the sake of the money that they're saving, boasting with such a large surplus, that the secondary roads should at least be given some consideration after 9:30 at night.
Well, thanks very much for that point. Listen, you raised at the beginning, you mentioned Muskrat Falls. I know it's not in your bailiwick, so to speak, as opposition critic, your transportation and works, but what's your take generally as a member of the House on the opposition side regarding the fact that even the partner in the Muskrat Falls, Emera, seems to be having some doubts about what's going on? What's your take on that?
There was no doubt in my mind that Nova Scotia was going to get a cheaper power than Newfoundland and Labrador. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. And we said all along that even what we know, it's a bad deal. Even now, Emera is saying we haven't got the full information. Even Nelcor is saying we haven't got the full information. So how can the Premier say we're not going to open the House of Assembly? We're going to go ahead with this deal, and we're not even going to bring it to the House of Assembly when both parties are stating themselves that we don't even have the full information. But yet she's not going to open the House, or not even going to bring it to the House for a vote. Yeah. We're going to go ahead.
And they're saying Emera says 14 to 16 cents per kilowatt hour, which is lower than we're expecting to get it here in this province, is too high.
We said all along that the power will be sold cheaper, much cheaper, in Nova Scotia than in Newfoundland and Labrador. And if anybody can explain to me why, if we're putting a transmission line in, if we're producing power from Newfoundland and Labrador, why are we paying more, but yet we're going to sell to somebody else? No one has yet explained that to me properly. And Mr. Rowe, here's something that I find here, and I'm sure this is going to be brought up wherever in the House of Assembly. If you noticed yesterday, in Nova Scotia, Darrell Dexter, NDP, the Premier, released the benefits agreement from Nova Scotia.
Yes.
I just find it kind of appalling that here's the Premier of Nova Scotia releasing the benefits agreement, how it's going to benefit Nova Scotia so much. The provincial government of Nova Scotia is not putting 1 cent into the project, but here they are making the big announcements up in Nova Scotia how much is going to help Nova Scotia.
Yeah, that's interesting. Eddie, Joyce, We certainly welcome your comments on those matters, and we appreciate your further comments on the Muskrat Falls situation. Thanks for calling, and all the best to you.
And Mr. O, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Anytime, sir.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. And that goes for any political figure, federal, provincial, or municipal. Call anytime and make your point of view known on these various subjects. I was getting a bit worried about the Liberal Party because they seem to be running an underground movement, but now they're coming out and making their points. Now I'm concerned about the government party, the Premier and the ministers. They seem to be, I don't know what it is. Is it apathy? Is it arrogance? Is it burying their head in the sand? Is it we can't be bothered responding to these points? I don't know. You may wish to comment on that. We'll be right back.